All right, lesson 4.2. We are going to take some time to review some fractions, decimals, and percentages. We're going to review writing decimals and fractions as percents. That is the goal of the review of this particular section. So, as with other things, there are a couple possible methods to do, in this case, converting decimals to percentages. So we're going to write 2/10 as a percentage. Now, here is method number one, and if you want to get these written down. First of all, it would be to write the decimal as a fraction, and then to rewrite that fraction with a denominator of 100, because again, percentages, those are based on 100. Again, as we talked in the last section, percent very literally means out of 100. So if you can take your fraction and put it over 100, then you can do number 3 here, and you can just use the numerator as your percent and use that number and then stick on the percent sign. So actually, you know what, I'm going to leave this out just slightly so that we can see it. In this particular case, we'll use red here today. So okay, we're going to write the decimal as a fraction. Well, okay, 0.2 again is 2/10. Alright, fantastic. That's not too bad. We're going to rewrite now. If we go to number 2, let's rewrite this fraction with a denominator of 100. Well, in this particular case, I know that if I multiply 10 by 10, I get 100. So my equivalent fraction, if I multiply the numerator by 10, this would be 20 hundredths. And number 3 here, write the numerator with a percent sign. So we're just going to pull that numerator out, 20%, and there we go. Okay, so that is method number 1. The problem sometimes with method number 1, though, is sometimes our denominators do not always go evenly into 100, which causes us some little snags at times. All right, I'm going to use method number 2 in this particular case. Again, we're going decimals to percents. So here is method number 2. Because percent means per 100, if I multiply the decimal by 100, okay, and the shortcut is to move the decimal 2 places to the right, that will get me to the percentage version of the number. So in this particular case, I have the decimal of 1 45 hundredths. And again, if I were to, and this, I'll go the long way here real quick. If I were to multiply this number by 100, okay, and so drop my 0, 1 times 145 is 145. And in this 2 decimal places in my problem, so 2 decimal places in my answer. So 145, you'll notice the decimal has moved to the end. It's moved 2 places to the right. So the quick way, the shortcut way, is to move the decimal 2 places to the right. Okay? And in all honesty, method number 2 is basically taking method number 1 and putting it or using a shortcut. Because if you really think about it, 1 45 hundredths is this, 1 and 45 over 100. Well, my mixed number version of this, 1 times 100 is 100 plus 45 is 145, and you'll notice now I am in a fraction over 100. If I pull this out, 145%. So my solution either way is 145%. Okay, so the shortcut version is to move the decimal 2 places to the right, and you've taken care of all of the changing to fractions and multiplying by 100 and all that stuff in one simple little step. So. All right, so now we're going to go a different direction. We're going to convert fractions to percentages. And again, I have a couple methods that we can use. And the first method is to divide the numerator by the denominator. So we'll do some long division, and then we'll take that number and multiply by 100 again. And this is the same similar shortcut as we had in the previous slide when we move the decimal 2 places to the right. That's the shortcut, and then we stick on the percent sign. So in this particular case, all right, 4 divided by 5, remember it's the numerator divided by the denominator, All right, so does 5 go into 4? No, it doesn't, so add a 0. Does 5 go into 40? Yes, it does. That would be 8 times 5 is 40. And you'll notice that it terminates right here. Okay, so now multiplying by 100 will move the decimal 1, 2 units to the right. So my decimal is now back here, and I have 80. And so step number 3 was to take that 80% and stick on your percent sign. And there you go. 80% is your solution. Okay, so we can always divide the fraction out if we need to. All right. Second method. Find an equivalent fraction with 100 as the denominator and write the numerator with the sign. Now, one thing about these methods and so on, in some cases it may be easier to use method number 1, and in other cases it may be simpler to use method number 2. You have to sort of decide in what particular case which particular method is the simplest. Okay, and so if you can do both methods, you then are open to use whatever is simplest for that particular situation. So okay, first of all, let's go ahead and find an equivalent fraction with 100 as the denominator. Well, the first thing I'm going to do in this particular case, I'm going to go ahead and express this mixed number as an improper fraction, a top-heavy fraction. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 is 15. So this is 15 fourths. Now the nice thing in this particular case, and this is where method number 2 actually works really well, is because I know 4 goes into 100 evenly. The problem with using method 2 sometimes is sometimes your denominator does not go evenly into 100, and so that's where a lot of times in that case you would probably want to use method number 1. Okay, now I know here multiplying by 25 will get me my my numerator here. So I have to, in order to get my numerator, do a little bit of multiplication, and if you need to, you go to the side of your paper or whatever, or if you have a calculator on hand and you multiply it. I don't currently have a calculator on hand, so I'll just go through and multiply it out. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. I need my placeholder, and 1 times 25 is 25. And 5, 7, and 3. So my numerator is 375. And so we are going to use this numerator now that we are out of 100. And we will attach our percent sign. And so our solution in this case is 375%. So, and this one again worked because 4 goes evenly into 100. But again, some fractions, like if this were even a 3, well, 3 does not go nice and evenly into 100. So in that case, you're probably better off with method number 1. So, all right, and then we're going to order some rational numbers. And again, we can use a number line to help us. Now, the other part of this, though, is to realize that we do have some things that sort of stand out when we're doing least greatest. For example, this one right here I know is going to go first. It is the smallest, and the reason I know that is easily the fact that it's got a negative. It's the only one in the bunch here that is a negative. Now you also have to choose what method is going to be easiest for you to use. Okay, do you want to change them all to fractions? Do you want to change them all to decimals? Or do you want to change them all to percentages? For this particular exercise, I'm going to go to percentages. For no particular reason, I'm just looking at them and actually I'm going, well, the reason, okay, I guess there is a particular reason. Okay, first of all, I know this is the smallest because it's the only negative. 0.3, if I do the shortcut and move the decimal 2 places to the right, this is 30%. Okay, so I know that one pretty quickly. This one is already at 70.2%, 70 2/10. So this one here, I know at least of the two of them is going to be the larger So I've already got some of the order set in this particular case. I know 2 3/4 will be bigger than 1 3/4. So now if I go through some steps, okay, 4 times 1 is 4. I'm going to go to a mixed number, an improper fraction here. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 3. This is 7/4. If I put this over 100, okay, I'm going times 25 to do that. Let's see, 25 times 7, well, that would be 7/4, which is 8/4 would be $2. So this has got to be 175. All right, so this one right here is 175%. Well, 2 times 4 is 8, 9, 10, 11/4. And in this case, if I go over 100, well, I know that 12/4 is $3. This is one less than that, so it looks like we have 275. So 275%. And I think that gives me enough. And if you needed to, you could plot these all on a number line, which, by the way, this in this case would be a negative 200% with the way that we're doing. Since we're converting to percentages, these would actually be in percentages. So these could all be plotted in the number line. Negative or 275% would be down here. 175% would be here, and so on. I don't think I need to do that in this particular case, though. Again, negative 1.6, I know has to be the smallest because it's the only negative. All right, so that one is now taken care of. Of the rest of them, it looks like 30%, which represented my 0 3/10. That would be my second one, at least from the bottom, if we're going smallest to largest. So the 30% is out of the way. Of the remaining things, 70.2 or 70 2/10 would come next. All right, and then 1 3/4, because that was my 175%. So that one is now taken care of, leaving 2 3/4 as my largest. So there's my order from least to greatest. And again, you could have selected to go to all decimals, to all fractions if you wanted to. In many cases, it comes down to what are you comfortable in doing. I thought in this particular case, switching to percentages was relatively, or the simplest of the methods. So, all right, so it's your opportunity to get some practice and some review. And so good luck. Please come see me if you need some help.